Hello everyone, this is Voral, and today I will be talking about a theory of a game called It's Not Me, It's My Basement. For those of you that have never heard of this game, this is a horror game about a kid named Embry that we play as to see how they live their life. So let's dive into this theory as we explain what happens in It's Not Me, It's My Basement. Before I get this theory started, there are some points I need to make first. When you first start the game, it is said that Embry is actually a non-binary character. So I will be using they/them pronouns. The second thing is that my theory is only my interpretation from what I saw in the game, and there might be scary imagery like blood from this video. If you do not like this, please click off the video. Without further ado, let's start the theory. In It's Not Me, It's My Basement, we follow a child named Embry who lives alone as the game tells us that their parents are gone right now. We follow Embry as they do the chores, go to the market, and do other things around the house. But Embry is holding a dark secret. While doing all of these chores and going to the market, we also see Embry feed a monster in the basement. The game never tells us what this monster looks like, acts like, or anything. However, there are hints in the game that tell us what truly happened to Embry's parents. In the game, we are able to find out that Embry's parents are not gone, but were actually eaten by the monster. How we are able to figure this out is that Embry mentions it and that the monster tries to get out by using Embry's parents' voices as well as Embry's voice. But the question remains, who or what is the monster in Embry's basement? While playing the game, we soon find out that Embry goes to the market to find some meat for the monster. This meat seems to satisfy the monster, but it doesn't feel hungry anymore. However, the market always seems to be out of meat, and the person, Miss Baylor, promises Embry that they will get the meat to them once it comes in stock. The second time Embry goes to the market, Miss Baylor is still out of meat, but tells Embry that a doctor has come into town, and Miss Baylor has told the doctor about Embry's parents. Embry is terrified to know this, but goes to the doctor and takes the doctor with him back home. The doctor's name is Dr. Delight. While walking with Embry, Dr. Delight tries to hold a conversation with them, but Embry seems to not enjoy the company. After Embry gets to the house, Dr. Delight sees the basement and asks Embry about it. Embry explains that it's just chained up, but the doctor gets curious and wants to see what's down in the basement. Embry agrees to open the basement door just to let the doctor see. After Embry opens the door, the doctor wants to go downstairs, but Embry starts freaking out when the doctor says this. It is soon shown in a scene that the doctor falls down the basement stairs and gets eaten by the monster. After the monster eats the doctor, Embry goes to bed. Later, Embry hears the monster bang on the door and goes to check it out. Embry finds out that the monster escaped. Embry can either go back to bed or check it out. When Embry goes to check it out, Embry goes through a long hallway and handprints appear on the wall until they meet a person that looks like Embry. But this person's name is Yor. Yor tries to convince Embry that they are the monster and tries to put the blame on Embry for killing their parents and Dr. Delight. Yor scares Embry by trying to eat them, but it turns out to be all a dream. Going back to bed leads to the same thing, except Dr. Delight talks to Embry instead. The dream ends the same way, where Dr. Delight tries to eat Embry. After this dream, Embry goes downstairs, where the door is still locked. Embry decides this has to end now, so they decide to go down to the basement. This is where the game ends, so this leads to where the player interprets what happened after what they saw. My theory for this game is some part of me making it up from the beginning and what I think is going on in the game. When I was watching the video for this game, it made me see that some things didn't seem like what they seem, and it just felt like something was off with Yor. It led to me to the conclusion that Embry might have dissociative identity disorder, otherwise known as DID. In case you don't know what DID is, it's when someone has more than one personality, and it usually happens when a person has a lot of trauma. This is usually used as a coping mechanism to help the person avoid a bad memory. I looked through the symptoms and found out that Yor has most of these symptoms, and they seem to be more violent than Embry is. I believe that Yor is an alternate of Embry that likes to harm people. I tried to think of Embry having 2 alternates, but I couldn't find one, so I believe that Yor might be the only one, and I tried to look for one that only had 1 alternate, but I couldn't find anything. Unless I missed something, I believe Embry only has 1 alternate. I analyzed Embry's emotions in the game and did a test of personality disorders. These had been taken that fit Embry from what I saw in the game, but since we don't really get much information from the game, I decided these tests were irrelevant. It also didn't seem like Embry had a personality disorder either, so I ended up with dissociative identity disorder. The story I had for him feels like it fits, and I tried my best to think about the story. Because the game doesn't actually give us a lot to tell us what happened, I have made up a story that I feel would fit with the game. This is just a theory, so this could be completely wrong, but I feel like it fits. Embry lives with his mom and dad and possibly Dr. Delight. As we see Crow scare, Rio says to Embry about having 2 dads, so this suggests it might be a polyamorous relationship, but I could be wrong. Embry experiences something traumatizing, like their parents fighting, or maybe gets bullied by kids in school, and tries to block it out by using an alternate to distract them to avoid the memory. However, the alternate is very aggressive, and Embry's parents realize this when their child keeps acting strange. Embry's parents become worried and take them to a specialist, which was Dr. Delight. Dr. Delight does several tests, and Embry ends up meeting their alternate, but becomes terrified of him to where Embry can't handle it. Dr. Delight hypnotizes Embry so they can face their fears of their alternate. However, Yor made Embry believe that they had killed their parents because of Embry's fear of Yor. This leads to creating the town Embry was growing up in the mine. Yor eventually made Embry believe everything that he told Embry, so Embry locked them up. The meaning that Embry gives Yor is Embry's brain and how Embry is being haunted by Yor because of what happened. The basement represents Embry trying to block Yor out, but is unable to because of their fear of Yor. This is why Yor gets stronger every day when Embry feeds them. Days went by and Dr. Delight decided to interfere and help Embry by trying to show that there is nothing to be afraid of, but instead fell down the stairs. After Embry's nightmare, they decided they have had enough and head to the basement to finally face their fears against Yor. Embry wakes up and sees their parents alive and isn't afraid of Yor anymore. That is my theory for It's Not Me, It's My Basement. Or I could have just overthought everything and made it up just to make a story. Anyways, what do you guys think about my theory? Please put your thoughts in the comments and like and subscribe. If you have a theory to suggest, then I'll look into it and think of a theory. I have thought of playing games before, but right now I just have my phone, so you can watch me play app games if you want. I hope you enjoyed the theory and the video, and I'll see ya in the next theory. Bye peeps!